Hello and welcome to The Cosmic Nomad. I'm your host, Bailey Rushlow, and this is a space for the curious and the heart-led, where we explore the human experience through travel, nature, spirituality, and real-life transformation through beautiful conversations. As I discover my way of living what I call an inspired life, I share the practices, stories, and perspectives that have helped guide me back to myself. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing what it meant for me to come back into relationship with my body after years of disconnection, how I started to listen, trust, and learn the language of my own inner world. So get cozy, pull up a chair, go on a walk, get a cup of tea, roll a joint, make something creative with your hands, get a crochet project, wash the dishes, walk the dog. Let's have an honest conversation. So just take a deep breath with me in and out. Shake it out, shake out your shoulders. Move your jaw, raise and lower your eyebrows. Twist your back, your hips, your legs. Put yourself into your body for this podcast episode today about being in your body. It was important for me to talk about this at some point in this series, so I thought today is the day. I just did a little meditation, guiding myself back into my body and connecting with the version of me that would have needed to hear this message years ago. So this episode is dedicated to her and to all of the versions of you. The version of you today, maybe, the version of you years ago, the version of yourself as a child, the version of your children that need to be reminded of the sacred home that our body is. The body is the soul's opportunity to be here. Someone told me that once, and I've carried it with me since. So today's going to be interesting. And I'm just going to do my best to be honest and remember that this is not a performance. This is a direct share from my lived experience. And I hope that you've had a different experience than me. I hope that you can't relate. I hope that if you have been raised in a high demand, high control religion, that you had a powerful and beautiful relationship with it. This was my experience for many years, that I really did make my faith and evangelical Christianity was my entire world. It was what I lived and breathed. It was everything to me. It was what I made decisions around. It was what I informed myself about on a daily basis, reading my Bible, being in Bible studies, going to youth group, going to church every week. Like, I was in the choir, I was teaching the kids, I was doing the worship ministry. I was in it to win it, okay? And by win it, I mean everlasting life and getting people saved. And by saved, I mean converting them to Christianity and to believing the way that I did. And it served such a big purpose in my life, truly. And you don't see how intense of an experience this is until you're on the other side of it and you look back and you're like, whoa. And then you have friends tell you that because you're questioning your relationship with the Lord, or because you're questioning your what you believe to be true anymore, and all these things, that you're going to go to hell for that, and blocking you out of their lives, and the messages that I've received over the years, accusing me maybe you really weren't a real Christian, maybe you didn't really love God. And I'm grateful for all of it. I wish I could have saved myself some heartbreak and started asking questions sooner. If I could give any advice to someone now, it would be curious, have an open mind, an open heart, and don't stop looking for God in all of the places. not just in the church, not just from a pastor, not just from a book. Because you will find that God, whatever this is that we believe to be a higher power, something outside of us, a creator, a great spirit, the universe, there's so many beautiful terms that we can all, I think, maybe not all, but most of us can agree there's something. We might not know exactly what it is, and I don't think we can even claim to know what it is. But knowing that we're here with intention, that we're here not accidentally, I think the majority of people could understand that. As much as I know there are those of you who will not resonate with this, or it won't be true for you, that is completely okay. I'm happy that you found your way, and I'm happy that I've found mine. None of us are lost. We're all just wandering, walking ourselves home, walking each other home, right? And this message isn't for the people who don't resonate. This message is for the people who would hear these words and say, holy shit, you just put into words what I have been feeling and didn't know how to say. This is a message for the people who believed that their body was sinful growing up. Whether that was intentionally the message or not. I know I'll have people listen to this, my mom maybe, who's like, I never told you your body was sinful. I'm like, I know. But it's the conditioning in which we were raised that informs all of those other little questions. It fills in the blanks for the subconscious. And that's what I want to talk about today, is not just evangelical Christianity and its dangers, and its ways that it's impacted my life, but specifically how we become disconnected from our bodies in culture in general, but specifically as well, how being raised religious, and it doesn't even have to be evangelical. You could be of a different religion and still relate, okay? So let's dive into how we become disconnected. And then I'm going to give you the tools and the ways that I reconnected with myself and what that journey was like for me. And some questions and things you can ask yourself to start bridging that gap of reconnection, okay? And again, this applies whether you are religious or not. I am just sharing my personal experience growing up in this very interesting paradigm. So I think one of the first things that comes to mind when I think of disconnection from the body is how we are taught, how I was taught that my body is inherently a source of sin. Like, as a woman with modesty, culture, and purity teachings, and so much shame around sexuality, made me feel that my body was dangerous, was bad, was the source of sin for someone else that could look at my body and, feel lust. That was my personal responsibility. As a 12-year-old girl, that was not their fault as a grown man or a grown person or a young person or whoever this person is. It's my responsibility, no matter where I am, to make sure that the people are not falling into lust, okay? The ramifications of believing this subconsciously mean that you put your body in the back of your mind. It's on the back burner. You're covering up, but you're also, so that inherently is the shame piece, right? You're ashamed of your body, which creates so many issues within the body physically, but also your view of yourself, your view of others, your view of sexuality, your view of just the physical body in and of itself and its sensations, whether that's pain or pleasure or sadness or anger. None of these things become explanatory because they're rooted in the shame of the body that we're supposed to be ashamed of. So it's like this full circle loop that just brings you back to shame every time. Then you also have the disconnection from pleasure and joy. Anything that felt good or indulgent was often linked to guilt or viewed as a sin of the flesh, in air quotes, which made it really hard to know what true healthy desire even feels like. Suffering is also glorified. The body was something to die to. You die to the desires of the body, right? It's not something sacred to live in. But what's funny is you're taught this oxymoron. You're like, the body, you die to the desires of the body, and also the body's a temple. It's like, wait, what? So the confusion and the dichotomy and the contrast and the duality of all of these things creates so much confusion, honestly, and hypocrisy. And it leads to ignoring your intuition and also staying in situations that may feel harmful to you, because obedience is more valued than sovereignty. So you're praised for self-sacrifice and submission, not for asking questions, not for setting boundaries, not for listening to your own inner knowing. Okay? And the focus is never on the body in this life, in this moment. It's on the afterlife. It was about escaping and or enduring it until heaven. So we're never taught to be in our body. One experience comes to mind when I think of this for myself. When I was probably 18, 19, I was just starting to work on my music for the first time. And I had been working in fast food, I had been working in retail, and personally, the body was just annoying. She had needs, she had desires, I didn't understand them, and they annoyed me. Even hunger annoyed me. To this day, I'll have moments where I'm still like, oh, I wish I wasn't hungry because then I didn't have to make food. It'd be so easy if I could just drink all of my meals. I'll have moments like that. Of course, I don't actually feel that way. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy nourishing myself. But it roots from this disconnection in the body. And I remember being, like I said, 18, 19, and I saw this advertisement for diet suppression capsules that you could take. And I looked them up on Amazon. Sure enough, suppress your diet, lose weight, don't be hungry. Mine wasn't even a weight loss thing. It was part of it, but mine was more so, how can I just mute myself and do things? I was very much a doer. It's wild looking back because I took those capsules a lot. I also got a protein powder and made myself protein shakes every day. I was also eating grapefruit and cottage cheese and I don't know, whatever, some kind of diet that was. I was never huge into the diet culture, but I really just wanted to put everything on mute. This is a prime example of me ignoring my physical needs of, hi, I want to build healthy hormones and healthy fats and healthy muscles, and I need to be nourished in order to do that. No wonder my period was gone for months and then would show up twice in a matter of weeks. No wonder I had horrible cramps. No wonder I had acne and was so unhappy in my body because I was not listening to her at all. At all. Didn't know how. I didn't know how. I could probably go on a longer list. This is just a few notes I jotted down when I was thinking about this topic. For me, one of the reasons I have this tattoo that says "feel it all" on my body, I think I mentioned it in a previous episode, is because I felt for years growing up that my emotions were bad. I was not necessarily taught this by my parents. They were wonderful. We love them. They did the best they could with what they had, right? But my own little perception of the world was these feelings are so big, they must be bad. They're so overwhelming to me that they must be wrong. And I buried them down. And I remember I have journal entries of when I've been journaling my whole life. So all this is documented. When I'm younger and I wrote down I just have to shove down all of my feelings deep down, and then I don't have to worry about them anymore. But I know that that's only temporary because give it a few years and it will erupt like a volcano. But once it does, then it's done, and I felt what I need to feel, whatever, and then I can go back on my way, and I'll do the same thing until it erupts again. And I just felt like I had figured out a cheat code for life. I was like, well, this is the way. We're just going to do this for as long as we need to. Until my body said, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. That is not what we are here to do. This body and all of her expressions are here to be felt, seen, loved, cherished, admired, and not a source of shame or guilt or fear or something that can't be trusted completely. And you see this play out, this disconnection. It plays out in the body in several ways. One is overthinking everything and being stuck in the mind. It's constantly second guessing yourself, needing permission to make decisions. It's difficulty hearing your intuition because the mind overrides everything with fear or logic, right? It's confusing anxiety with discernment. It's also difficulty identifying your needs. What do I want? What do I need? When you feel numb or shut down, and equating desire with selfishness and or sin, and having no idea what it actually feels like to be nourished physically, emotionally, sexually. There's a lot of guilt around pleasure and rest. And we also associate softness with weakness, not being strong and courageous and bold, being soft, being sad, feeling what we need to feel, feeling reserved, feeling gentle, feeling like having ease in our day. A lot of that can be seen and interpreted as a weakness. Another one is the fear of sensuality, fear of embodiment, like avoiding touch or movement or dance or self-expression, creativity, feeling unsafe or bad in your body, especially around sexuality. This one is huge. I have seen this in almost every friend that I had growing up. And if you've listened to a previous episode, you know that growing up for me, I didn't know anyone who wasn't raised like me. I didn't know anyone openly gay. I didn't know anyone of a different religion, hardly a different nationality. Everyone was of the same mind. It's a little culty, but I have seen, I would say, 90% of the people that I grew up with. I know that's a really big statement, that have struggled with embodying their sexuality, not feeling fear or shame around sexual embodiment, and treating our body as it's something to control or even ignore completely. And the last two ways that this shows up in our world are a lack of boundaries and people-pleasing, being taught to die to ourselves and put everyone else's needs above our own and put us, again, on the back burner, leads to chronic self-abandonment. This I have seen spread wide across the generations. This isn't just mine, raised with the purity culture and the movement and all that stuff. I've seen this in grandmothers. I've seen this in great-grandmothers. I've seen this in fathers. I've seen this in children, self-abandonment and saying no. So hard for us to say no, even when our body is screaming, this is not what I want. This is violating my boundary or what I desire in this moment. We put up with it and we are nice. You have nice girl syndrome that comes straight out of this good girl attitude at the expense of your health, your safety, your truth. We're so oriented on keeping other people happy because we were taught to keep this external off-planet deity happy at all costs, or else if we did not choose him, we would be banished to eternal damnation. When you really think about it, guys, it's a heartbreaking story to think that 2/3 of the world are colonized by Abrahamic religions. So 2/3 of 8 billion people believe in this origin story. It's different. We have different names. We have different beliefs around it, sure. But we all believe that there is this God that judges us based on if we choose or don't choose him. That, to me, is the definition of a narcissistic deity. And it's not at all what I associate the great creator or the great spirit or whatever it is to be, personally speaking. The final way that I want to mention now, I'm sure I could go on, but is the gift of a dysregulated nervous system. We have difficulty feeling safe or worthy without performing. You know, I've talked about this in the second episode, my relationship to performance as a child, how I got so much validation from this. You love me when I perform, right? You love me when I look good, right? You love me when I sing good, right? Asking these questions, and your subconscious looks for validation from your surroundings. It wants to be proven right. We're constantly being proved right, especially in a religion that involves so much performance. I remember being, 20 maybe, and a friend of mine who had already started kind of questioning things, and it concerned me a lot that she was already like moving ahead from where I was in my faith. And I felt so sad because she was deconstructing and I was not. And I was like, oh my God, we're losing her. She's walking away from the faith, And she asked me this question. She said, Bailey, the Bible says to love others as you love yourself. And I was like, yeah, of course. That's the whole point. Like, put others first and like treat them. She goes, no. You totally just, you missed it already. Love others as you love yourself. Do you love yourself? I was like, of course I do. It's me. I love myself. Whatever. I justified it. And she's like, no, really. How do you love yourself? In what ways do you love yourself? Because I see you helping a lot of other people, putting a lot of people's needs ahead of your own. And I was dumbfounded and a little offended, honestly, at being accused of not loving myself. Like, come on, of course I do. But her question haunted me, truly. And I had never thought about it before. I was like, how do I love myself? Because someone could call me, they need me, and I could be sick, and I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to show up for them, right? Is that something to be proud of? Or is that something to look at and go, maybe my boundaries are a little leaky? And then I was so surprised why I had gut issues and thyroid issues, food sensitivities, weight gain, acne, mood swings, anger, depression, when I was like 20 and everything came crashing down. I just want to say the last thing on this note. When we are taught not to trust our bodies, when we grow up living from the neck up, we're overthinking, we're people-pleasing, we're overriding the body, and we're calling it holy. But disconnection doesn't disappear just because you leave the church. It lingers. It lingers in your habits, in your self-talk, in your nervous system. And healing, like full body healing, happens when you come back to the body gently, consistently, and you say, I'm listening now. So let's get into that. How do we listen? We know we're disconnected. We got that. Great. So happy for us. How do we connect? How do we bridge a gap safely from where we are to where we want to be? And what does where we want to be even look like? What does it even feel like? Because we've only known this way for so long. Such a valid question, Bailey. Thank you for asking. Okay. How do we reconnect? Start with awareness, not action. Okay? Instead of fixing things, there is nothing to fix. We are simply welcoming ourselves home. And to do this, we have to ask some questions. We have to actually get to know this suit that we live in by noticing her and asking things like, where am I numb? Where am I quiet? Where am I loud? What sensations are present for me? And where do I feel them? When was the last time you closed your eyes and just did a body scan? That's one of my favorite things to do to bring awareness to the body. You can do it very quickly. Close your eyes and put your awareness on the top of your head. I know that sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Think of the top of your head. Put your awareness there and start scanning down past your eyes, your nose, your mouth. Go as slow as you can, as slow as you want to, all the way down through your neck, your sternum, your belly, your pelvic floor, your thighs, your knees, your feet. Where is there tension? Where is there pain? What feels good? What needs a gentle touch? You'd be surprised at the times that I've done this over the years and just ended up in tears because I brought awareness to a part of me that maybe I've never noticed before. Try it and see what happens. If you do it and have a profound experience, I want to hear about it. Please send me an email at thecosmicnomadpodcast@gmail.com. Number 2, meet your body's needs with reverence. This could look different for everyone. For me, it looks like resting before I am exhausted. Exhaustion is not a badge of honor. Rest is your birthright, not something to be earned. Eat your meals slowly. Taste everything on your plate. Don't just eat over your sink quick because you've got to go somewhere. I mean, there's a time for that. I understand it can't be every single day, but it can be every single day. We actually can take these tools and apply them into our lives and figure out where we've been disconnected. And again, it just comes with awareness. If awareness is all that you have the time for right now, to just be aware and ask yourself those questions. Start with that. That's amazing. If you can add this next step in of treating your body with reverence, hydrating intentionally, maybe add a little salt to your water, give yourself some minerals, right? We have to do that here in Mexico. We add lime and salt to our water to create electrolytes because we're sweating so much. Eat nourishing foods slowly without distraction. Be fully present for your body. As you taste different textures, as you shower, as you shave. It's like what we were talking about in the last one, romanticizing, creating small rituals. This goes right along with that, okay? If you need to cry, are you forcing it down and waiting for years later till you erupt? Or are you going to create a moment where you are safe to cry, where you have a little bit of space, a pocket of time, where you can feel what you need to feel? Can you journal it out? Can you join a kickboxing class? Can you rage it? Can you do something productive? Put your emotion into something, your body is not a storage unit for your emotions. They're meant to be felt, not stored, okay? The next thing that changed my life was creating a body check-in ritual. A friend of mine told me about this many years ago, and he said, I like to ask myself the following questions. Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Have I had proper rest today? Have I done something that makes me feel inspired? Have I connected with a friend, or have I been isolating? Have I had some movement in my day? These are your daily check-in questions. And you can create whichever ones work for you. I think these overall work for everyone because we're all human and we all have the same needs. But you might have some that are more specific to you in the moment. And you could also ask, where am I holding tension? Do I need movement right now, or do I need stillness? Am I distracting myself with all of these tasks or all of these, even hobbies, even good things that we love to do can also be a form of escapism. So how am I taking care of myself and my needs right now? Maybe choosing to move in intuitive ways, like stretching, walking, dancing. Move for pleasure, not for performance. How does my body want to move right now? Sometimes that looks like me dancing like an octopus in my kitchen, feeling the fascia under my skin unweave itself from its knots. Sometimes it looks like just standing in the kitchen and touching the floor. I'm in my kitchen a lot. Sometimes it looks like playing with my cat and goofing around on the floor. Sometimes it looks like taking intentional moments of stretch. And sometimes it looks like swimming in the ocean and screaming under the waves and being a kid. In what ways can you bring your inner child into this and create safety for her, for him? Another ritual that changed my life, taught to me by Juliet Allen, an Australian sexologist, who was the first person to really teach me about self-pleasure and connection to the body in a form of ceremony, a form of ritual and gratitude. Instead of focusing just on your appearance, thank your body for what it does. Sit in front of the mirror, carve out some time for yourself, create a little ritual, light a candle, turn the lights down low, take all your clothes off, look at yourself in the mirror, get an oil, maybe coconut oil I like, jojoba oil, castor oil, whatever you have, and start to massage it onto your body in different areas. Maybe start with your shoulders. Tell your arms, thank you so much for everything that you do. As you massage your hands, thank you for every person that you've touched today. Thank you for every door that you've opened, every grocery bag you've carried, every meal that you've prepared, every little forehead that you've held and kissed, for your children, every activity that I've done, everything I've created. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for holding me. Okay? Move on to other parts of your body, your feet. Thank you for everywhere that I've walked. Wash your hands maybe after your feet because they've been places, Thank you for everywhere that you've carried me. Thank you for the miles that we've journeyed through town today. Thank you for the way that you walked on the sand, the rocks, the grass, the creeks, the floor, the concrete, the carpet. You are incredible. Show your body, tell your body how much it means to you, how grateful you are for its presence, and the fact that you can exist inside of it. What a gift that is to call this body home. Touch your belly, the softness of its skin, its folds, the way that it moves. Our bodies receive so much hate, not only from our conditioning, from society, from culture, but also from our own minds. And what we think creates our reality. So what you think about your body creates the environment that your body lives in. So if you have the chance to create a holistic and healthy environment for your body to live in mentally, the way you experience your body is going to change. I watched it happen for me. I literally did this practice every other day, sometimes every day, sitting in front of the mirror, looking at myself, observing the way my skin moved, observing my stretch marks, observing the way certain things sagged or fell or twisted or different shapes my body made as I moved. Of course, this can lead into a really beautiful self-pleasure ritual, which I'm a huge fan of. Healing touch, exploring safe sensual touch with yourself, reconnecting without shame and without pressure. It can be non-sexual, like we just said, with self-massage, skincare, warm baths. Make a bath ritual, get your Epsom salts, get your magnesium soak, right? But also self-pleasure, connecting without your shame to your body, knowing pleasure is your birthright. Did you know that babies masturbate in the womb? They have never been taught about sexuality. They've never seen porn. They've never been conditioned in any particular way. They've never seen any life outside of the womb. And yet they connect to their pleasure because it's inherent to us. It's conditioned out of us. We are conditioned to be ashamed of our pleasure. If you've never done this before, never had experience with this, it could be a little bit scary. So take it slow and look at yourself in the mirror. Most women, most people have never looked at their beautiful bodies with a mirror. I'd highly encourage you to do it. You'll see just how beautiful you really are, especially when you start with gratitude toward your body for everything she does for you. That way, there is no more lingering conditioning around, oh, well, my body doesn't look like X, Y, and Z. My body doesn't look like what? A photoshopped AI person full of plastic. Like, your body looks exactly the way it's supposed to. It's beautiful. And she does so much for you. He does so much for you, right? Engage in rituals that involve your senses. Light a candle, play soft music, drink from a beautiful mug. Engage your smell and taste and texture to bring yourself into the present moment, not just in a sexual way, but literally just in life in general. Like, yeah, I can wake up and make myself a quick cup of whatever and throw my clothes on and go do X, Y, and Z. But what happens if I put some romance into it, right? The whole last episode was all about that. If you missed it, go check it out. And listen and respond to your body. Listen when it whispers to you. Don't wait until it's screaming. Its messages are not interruptions. It's like sacred data coming from your first and only home, the first home you were born with, the last home that you will leave before your spirit departs your body, right? Like it comes from the earth. It goes back to the earth. By listening to our body, we are tending to the earth as well because we come from her, right? Reconnection, it doesn't just immediately mean that your body suddenly feels like home, but it means that you start visiting more often. It means that you bring softness, that you respond to her gentle nudges, and over time, the body begins to trust you again too. Okay? It's a relationship. You are your longest relationship. Your body's been waiting for you, and not with judgment. She doesn't judge you. You judge her. So let's just let some of that judgment go and find safety in knowing that her arms are open. Every breath, every sensation, every whisper, it's an invitation back to yourself. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me today, for listening, for sharing this space. And if today's episode spoke to something in you, please feel free to share it with a friend who you think would also resonate, and or leave a review. It helps more than you know. I'll be back next Tuesday with another episode, and until then, open heart, open mind.